Tonight, we're finishing up our series on mental health during the pandemic, focusing on young adults. College seniors have a lot on their plates between finishing up classes, graduating, and trying to find a job. KVUE's Molly Oak reports on the toll the past year has taken on them.
In the book of life, graduating college is a new chapter. Pages filled with growth, with exploration, with payoff from all the things you've been working toward.
It felt like nothing was happening. It felt completely gone. It felt like nothing we had ever been expecting or dreamed of was happening because of the pandemic.
A pandemic that put life on pause, that stopped the page from turning for Alexandria Tagle, a 2020 University of Texas graduate.
There were days that it just felt endless, like this was never going to end, like we were always going to be stuck inside and just trying to navigate this by ourselves. So I did feel like there was some days that were really down, and it was hard to get out towards the end of that and to keep things in perspective, especially with like COVID being so unknown in the future. It's even harder to grasp that.
Graduations went virtual. Jobs had hiring freezes, internships stopped, protests started, and we had an election year like no other.
We still are in disbelief that like we've been through all of this in the short amount of time that it was. It feels like the last year of the pandemic has been an eternity. It feels like it's been years. I feel like our time went from feeling like it was going really fast to feeling like it was lasting forever.
Young adults feeling anxious, stressed, depressed, and defeated. Alexandria, someone who had hopes of going to nursing school, admits she sometimes felt like a failure.
It was hard to get out of bed. It was hard to make your goals for yourself when you're not seeing those things in person moving forward. You're not seeing your goals being checked off right away, and I did find it really difficult.
Oftentimes they've been told up until this point, especially as they're preparing for college, is that they are in control of their own destiny. Their grades they make are what kind of determines what happens next. And this is something that they have no control over.
Dr. Kim Jomey is a psychiatrist at Ascension Seton Shoal Creek.
We've had a lot of people come into the hospital in crisis during this time.
She says young adults are trying to balance the typical stressors that come with graduating college on top of a year filled with unknowns and isolation. Two things that make a vulnerable community even more susceptible to mental health challenges.
This is a crisis that will define this generation.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention surveyed young adults. 63% reported anxiety or depression symptoms, while 25% say they had seriously considered suicide.
These are foundational years that we have always looked forward to, and these foundational years that start your career, and when they don't work out as planned, it can be really devastating. And when things aren't going as quickly as you would like, it feels like a setback, and I think people should be more understanding of that.
Alexandria says she started going to therapy and got on medication for anxiety and depression.
And I do feel better now, and I do see more of a light now.
The positive part of this story, Alexandria feels like this pandemic has given her hope in herself.
It has kind of given us skills to handle this stress and to navigate new things, and to not be afraid of the unknown. And I think that was the hardest part of dealing with it, but I'm glad I've gone through it now. Although it's been really hard, I wouldn't change anything what I did and what I have done, because I feel like I've gotten very strong after all of this.
Strength to know that setbacks won't rewrite her story.
If you missed our 5-part series on mental health, you can watch it now on KVUE.com or on our KVUE Facebook page. And if you or someone you know is struggling, we have resources online to help. Or you can just call this number, 1-833-986-1919.